Well, hello folks. Welcome back. Welcome back to my latest video. And if y'all recall, on the last video, we talked about Black Sabbath Volume 4, and in particular the Rhino reissue, which proved to be the best sounding one that I've heard, that I've had. And what I forgot to tell everybody was that this was the first Black Sabbath record that was recorded in the United States. It was recorded in California over at Capitol Mastering. And when I was reading a little bit about it, they had a lot of trouble, especially with the drummer and all the drugs over there in California. They had a really tough go of trying to make the record. But the point for us is the quality of the recording is not as good as, let's say, for example, Paranoid or Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Things that were recorded in England. Those records recorded in England by Vertigo, Polygram, they had much better fidelity on the record than Volume 4. Volume 4 does not have the dynamic range and the fidelity of those recordings. But it was recorded in the United States, so the original master does reside with Warner Brother, or Capitol, I guess, in the United States. And so hence, that's why the Vertigo is the best sounding, better than the UK version, the Castle. Okay? Now today, the video is going to be about, we've got a shootout here. We've got this 2LP half-speed mastered and a 2LP 45 RPM. They're both plated and pressed at RTI. So there's a lot of similarity between the two. And first of all, let's talk about the half-speed master. It comes with a little insert. And basically, it's just a review of the record by Robert Sandell. He just gives a little review of the record. And then we've got the hype sticker on the shrink for the half-speed master. It says 180 gram high-performance vinyl because sound matters. Half-speed mastered by Stan Ricker, plated and pressed at RTI. And then you have the two LPs. But they didn't come with polyline inner sleeves, so I had to use my disc. I put some disc keepers in here. There's probably just some type of a kind of a plastic inner sleeve because I didn't keep anything else. Okay, now I know there's a lot of folks out there that have bought this record, that even watching right now, you've got this record, and but there's other folks out there that are maybe new to the channel and they really don't know a lot about mobile fidelity records. So I'm just going to take a minute and talk about the record. One thing that MOFI excels at, as well as Analog Productions, probably the two best in the world at doing it, is the packaging. These record covers are super, super thick. You won't find anything thicker. And they do come with a, what you call it, another protector, which I call it the inner sleeve protector. And when you put it in, it goes in. It actually has another layer to protect against ring wear for the cover. But it does have all their advertising on it. And Mo Fidelity includes their inner sleeves. So there's an expense you don't have to go. You've got a beautiful inner sleeve in there. So that's all the stuff MOFI excels at. And another thing that they've done now lately is they have started doing, aside from the one steps, which are phenomenal, they do this 2LP 45 RPM. You know, this one came out, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, half speed, and this is just a couple years out now. The 2LP 45 RPM. And the difference is now, this record is, let's just, I remember when I reviewed this record, of course, what did I have before? I had a domestic pressing. I might even had a UK press. And the level of improvement was staggering from just a domestic copy to something like this, which is even better than, you know, a Japanese first edition would be, because it's half-speed master. You just get so much more fidelity in the whole range of the whole spectrum, in the treble, mid-range, and the bass. You just get more of everything. And it was such a revelation when I put this on. I said to myself, no, this is what half-speed mastering is all about. This is done well. And then, you know, Stan Ricker and all that comes into play. Well, I said, I wonder what the difference is, because I really love those 45 RPM records. The ones I have are so fantastic. I said, I'd really like to know what the difference is. And yes, again, you go from the half speed, this is another level up again. More bass, more harmonic structure, better definition of the instruments. And one thing I did notice too, I listened to 2 or 3 different songs, and then I settled in on Money for Nothing, especially the intro, because it's kind of quiet. There's a synthesizer in the background. You know, he's saying, I want my MTV, and then the drums start kicking in, the guitars come on, and it builds to a big crescendo, and then the song starts. Well, I noticed when it builds up to that crescendo, it's what you would call a complex music passage. There's a lot of stuff going on. The half-speed master, you notice the congestion. You notice that there was a lot of blurring. There was a distortion in there. You didn't hear everything really clear. Now, because of the way the 45 RPM is done, the record's traveling faster. So you're not putting as much information in the groove. It's not as congested on the record itself. So the needle's better able to trace and pick that information up, and you don't have that problem with the congestion and the distortion. And you know, when you're just listening to this record, you don't really notice it, because it was so bad on the domestic press. It just sounds so much better here. But then when you move another level up and you hear it even more clearly, then you notice the congestion on this one. So, and what it does, especially like I was saying on the intro, when that synthesizer is in the background, I'm noticing that there's another, like an octave of music around everything, and it just has a more, the whole music has more presence. You know, his voice has more. That's one thing I have noticed with these 45 RPM records. The harmonic structure is a lot better. There's more harmonics on the record, and so you get more bass, solid bass, rounder bass, and it translates through the whole spectrum. You hear a little more, you know, that bottom end in the voice, more harmonic structure in the voice. In the synthesizer, there's more harmonic structure. It just gives it makes it a more holistic sound, a bigger, rounder, fuller, just more spacious sound, and a better recording. It's worth. This is, you know, here's a little bit of a dig on this stuff. It's a digital recording. If you don't know that, yes, this was made originally a digital recording. It was never made analog. So if you want to go for the gold CD or whatever of this thing, I haven't listened to that. I don't know how it would sound, but this is a digital record. And but there's a lot of people love this record, and so of course MOFI made it. They're in the business of making money, and this is the best sounding version that I've ever heard. But you still hear that digital in the music, in the drum, because this is early stuff. In the drums, especially, you hear that that digital artifact is there a bit. But that's what we're used to hearing anyway. We've never heard this record any other way. So in that respect, if this is a record you like, a recording you like, this really, really sounds phenomenal. This is a great sounding record. And thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye for now.